All right. Grace and peace, Grand Rising. So I'm doing this on my phone. So excuse me. All right, here we go. We're gonna kick this off. So today's topic on Mindful Monday, we're also gonna do an oracle. I'm gonna try not to stay away or stay clear from my oracle. Um, because I would like to give it to us at the end of our session. Hold on, because I'm not completely up, but salute to everybody coming through. I appreciate you guys. Mucho, mucho. Let me just get this computer set up. Hold on a second. Yes. I will put the description a little later. For right now, I'm going to just go into, I guess I can go in here. I don't know if I can do that. But anyway, so today's Mindful Monday is, as you can see, some of you may not know that description in the title, the name of that title there. My Lotus is here. Yay! Hold on. Let me I gotta put this down. Okay. So the screen, all right, because I can't see. All right. I'm trying to get it together. I thought I'd be on here earlier, but it didn't happen. Anyway, so today's Mindful Monday is about In the Land of Oz. So if you don't know or you haven't read that book, it's by L. Frank Baum. And I think it was like during the 1800s or something like that. He wrote this book, early 1800s. Let me just get my information here because I'm using my phone, so I can't. If I need the internet, I'm gonna have to go onto my computer, and I really don't want to. But anyway, big cat, yay! My moms are in the building. Ow! Salute, guys, salute. So anyway, let me get a quick sip and light this Palo Santo up. So I had put this title up, In the Land of Oz, because I'm listening and I'm doing some research and with spirit. Now, if you guys are not really in tune with the Bible, I'm not going to really try to put too much into this as far as biblical speaking, but what I'm coming to realize as my spirit taps me in and tunes me into certain things is that when you watch that movie, The Wizard of Oz, it's a really cool movie. I've seen it a million times throughout my childhood and my lifetime. And the premises of the story is a young teenage girl lives on the farm with her aunt and her uncle, with some farm hands on there as well. And, she's about 14 years old. So, she's coming of age. Remember when you were 14, how did things, how was the world looking to you? Now, I don't know if she went to school or not. I know she had to work on the farm with her aunt and uncle. And so, she had to help out on the farm. All right. So the story goes, I never read the book. So, if I'm misquoting something out of it, please let me know, because I don't want to do that. But, the story has it is that she, she's a little town girl. So she's running back and forth through town. Thank you, big cat. So she's running through town. Rightfully so. She's a little 14-year-old. And she's just trying to find her way in life. All right. So she's not happy on the farm. She doesn't want to be doing farm work. She realizes that, there's other things to life. I think this is like in Kansas. So this is Midwest. Think about, back then there was like, it was dirt land. So, her neighbors were far and few. She did have one neighbor who was Eldora or Amira Gulch, aka the Wicked Witch. And I think she was a landlady or something like that. So she didn't really like, Dorothy and her little dog or whatever. And so a lot of things are playing out with Dorothy where she's not happy where she is. The neighbor doesn't like her and her dog. And she's trying to find her way in her little 15, 14-year-old life, right? Moving forward, she has it out with her aunt. You know, she's tired. She says, you know, I'm tired of being here, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to run away from home. Meanwhile, the Wicked Witch comes through. Pamela's in the building. Yay, salute Pamela. So, you know, the Wicked Witch comes through. She's not the Wicked Witch yet. She's Elmira Gulch. And she comes through to the house and she's telling, Auntie M that this dog's got to go. I'm going to put the dog down. I'm going to take the dog and I'm going to chop it up for firewood and all this other good stuff. And so Dorothy, you know, goes into a rage and she's ready to leave. And she's like, you know, screw you, old bag, I'm out. She runs away with Toto, her little dog. And she comes across this man who is sitting, you know, by the wayside. He has this little truck. It's not really a truck. It's kind of like this truck, but kind of like a little RV, but really small kind of bunker thing, right? And he's got all these divinations and crystals, and he's wearing a turban, right? And he says to her, you know, so what's going on? And she's not saying too much, and he brings out this crystal ball and says, oh, it looks like you're running away from home. Meanwhile, he's just making an assertion of her, right? You know, like he's peeping her out. He sees that she's got her little briefcase. She's got the little dog in hand. So he's like, oh, so you're running away from home. And so, you know, he's looking into his crystal ball and she's like, well, what else do you see? And he's like, oh, I see, an old lady who's crying for you and she's heartbroken. And she's like, oh my God, that's my Aunt Em. I got to run back home. She runs back home. Meanwhile, again, like I told you guys, it's in Kansas. So it's in that, what they call Tornado Alley. Gets hit by the tornado, you know, while the farmhand and Aunt Em are going down into the bunker. Toto escapes and Dorothy goes and runs to get Toto. She goes into the house. She gets hit in the head by the window, a window pane, and Dorothy gets knocked out unconscious. All right. So she goes into now a subconscious, unconscious world. Who do we have in here? Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So now she's entering into her subconscious world. She lands into this particular land called Oz. And she happens to fall on a witch. There were 4 witches in this story. The Wicked Witch of the East, the Wicked Witch of the West, Glinda the Good Witch, who is of the North. And then they never really talk about the Witch of the South, but she was also, they all were good at one point. But the Wicked Witch of the West ran this land where Dorothy happened to, her house landed on in this tornado. And so Glinda comes down, which is the good witch, all right? She's wearing all her little pearls and frilly glitters and stuff, and she's godlike, all right? So this movie is more metaphorically speaking than anything else. It's biblically speaking than anything else. And as children, we didn't realize this. We thought it was just, you know, Hollywood glam and, you know, really great costumes and stuff like that. But really what that movie was about is dealing with your subconscious, right? Because then now Glinda couldn't help Dorothy just take her little wand and send her back to Kansas, right? What she did with Dorothy was tell her, if you go to the Emerald City, aka the land of Oz, you can then find your way back home. The wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, will help you find your way back home. How do I find this way? She says to, Dorothy says to the beautiful Glinda Good Witch. She says, follow the yellow brick road. The yellow brick road could be a couple of things. Could be the Kundalini, but also it could be material gains, right? Because they painted the road gold. Follow the yellow brick road, right? So in life, while we're trying to find ourselves, remember, again, like I said, remember us at 14 years old. We're just experiencing, you know, puberty for the ladies, you know, for the girls, we're getting our boobs. We're starting to, you know, develop shapely, right? For the boys, you know, their testes are dropping now. They might be getting a little bigger down in the package area, right? Some are getting muscles. So facial hair and stuff like that. So this is the coming of age with this. King Ramon's in the building. Salute. Gets in her ruby red slippers. So her ruby red slippers can also means something else. Again, as I just said, she's coming of age. She's a young lady, right? So the ruby red slippers can mean, menstrual. You guys take it how you want to interpret it. This is my interpretation, but I'm drawing all the lines together, if you will, because there were a couple of other books that came out around that time. So this is like 1800s. So not only did you have the Wizard of Oz, but you had the Chronicles of Narnia, which is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. That was the first book that came out. I'm going to talk about that book as well, and the Hobbit, which was by J.J. Tolkien. So I grew up in that world. My mother, she had those books. I went to Catholic school, so I watched, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Chronicles of Narnia, and then watching The Wizard of Oz. My mother watched it when she was a little girl, and she had me watch it when I was a little girl. And I passed that down to my little girls. So in hindsight, though, those are stories of coming of age. Those are stories of how we can conquer certain wicked people in our lives, and how we, navigate through these things. So with Dorothy, she had three. Did she have four? No, she had three characters. She made the fourth character. You like The Hobbit? I love The Hobbit. I love The Hobbit, and I loved The Two Rings. And what was the last book? I forgot what the last book is. My mother had all three of them, and those books were really thick. So those guys were coming out of the School of Theology in, Oxford, and in what was the other school out there? Cokesbury, Canterbury, all in England. Right, those are good movies, but they also have good moral stories to them, because if you realize with the Hobbits, it was 4. Notice everything is in 4, guys. That's what I'm trying to get us to realize. With what I'm trying to say is that everything is spiritually lined, right? Everything is by nature and by elements, right? We got the 4 elements. We got the north, the south, the east, and the west, right? Our guiding points. We have autumn, winter, fall, and summer, right? And spring. So everything is in 4s. We do things in 4s. It's repetitive, right? So some of us could be seeing 444. Some of us could be seeing 44, right? Some of us are 44. Some of us could be going through a 4th cycle in our life. Some of us are, you know what I mean? So with Dorothy, everything that was happening and the people that she had alongside with her, the Tin Man, the scaredy, the cowardly cat, right? Big cat, who's the lion, who's the Leo, who wanted courage, right? And the Tin Man who wished for a heart. And we had the Scarecrow, who just wanted a brain, right? Because he knew he could think things out, but he would get stumped and not realize his train of thought. It would go disappear. And in actuality, that was all Dorothy. All 3 of those attributes was just her heart, her courage to think. And so she goes through this process of going through certain different elements throughout going on the yellow brick road, where she finds Big Cat. Quasimodo, right? Quasimodo was a good guy. He wasn't a bad guy. He was just they looked at him because he was weird, so he's like misjudged. But Dorothy then finds the wizard, right? With getting all her little friends together. They're like, yeah, we want to go to the wizard too. If he can help you find your way back home, he can help us with a brain. He can help us, get our heart, and he can help us with getting courage, right? Fine. Dorothy says, let's go. Let's do this. She gets to the wizard. The wizard turns her back and says, no, I'm not seeing anybody today. Mind you, they were all scraggly, they were all dirty, they've been, out in the fields and the forests. The wizard hooks them up to let them get cleaned up, right? Get presentable. Then they open up the doors. So they're going down this long corridor, get to where the wizard is, and it's this big flaming head who's intimidated, and he's asking, what do you want, basically? And they're like, we want this, we want that. And she's like, I just want to get home. He says, kill the witch, the wicked witch of the east. right? Because we're talking about now. And now I'm gonna draw my lines. So stay with me for just a little bit more. I'm gonna draw my lines as far as opposed to what's going on with here in America and what's going on in the East. So, disclaimer, I'm not a theologian either, but I know how they work. I know how they get down. Cowardly Dog was my is. Yes, yes, yes. And so was my son loved the Cowardly Dog too. Poor little baby. That damn what was his name? Eustace was the old man. That's a Dorothy. So they get to the wizard, and the wizard's very intimidating. He's telling them, you know, you got to go kill this witch because she's ruling the land. Blase blue, bloop de bloop. Right? So Dorothy's like, well, damn, that's not what I signed up for. I just thought you would take me home. The good witch, the Glenda good witch, said that you can help us get home. Help me get home. He's like, no. I need you to bring back that broom to let me know that she's dead. Show me what you got. Right? So they sent off another adventure. Just when you think the story's going to end, it takes another turn. They send off Dorothy to go kill the witch. Dorothy gets trapped up by their witch because the witch wants her ruby slippers. The ruby slippers have power to them. Anytime there's some blood sacrifices, okay, just think about it in that way. I'm not going to go too deep into all that because the streets are watching. But whenever there's something like that, that's when you see red in a movie, that means that's a sacrifice. Anytime you see a character wearing a red shirt, a red cloth, a red cloak, red shoes, red hat, that's either one, that's the main character, but there's a sacrifice that has to happen with them, whatever the sacrifice is. Remember when we saw Moses and the 10 Commandments, he was wearing what? A red shawl, in a sense, if that's what you want to call it, right? He was the sacrifice. He didn't die. So sacrifices don't really mean you gotta die, but something's going to die. Something has to die in order for something to live. I'm eating oranges, excuse me. So therefore, with Dorothy, she had the witch wanted those ruby slippers. They possessed magical powers. They were the Wicked Witch of the West slippers that had dominion over that land where the Munchkins were at. Panera's in the building. Salute to my UK brother. Yay! If you can stay with me, brother, stay with me. Follow me with this story because this is what we're talking about. We're talking about Babylon. We're talking about the hidden hand. We're talking about how I'm going to get to my point with what the wizard says in this movie, The Wizard of Oz, and how the West, where America is, according to the East, and how we're in Egypt, they make it all so glorious and glamorous. Why they don't talk about what's really glorious and glamorous, and that's in the Americas, right? It's the hidden hand. It's pay no attention to what you see. Let me throw this rock and tap you on your shoulder so you can look the other way and you don't know what's really going on. So that's what happened with the witch. She wanted these slippers. She jailed Dorothy, and her little friends came and helped rescue her, right? But they had to do this whole war thing first. So the witch sent out her flying monkeys, and they destroyed her little friends, and they got all the rest of the land and the people who acting up. You know that part. Finally, it takes water to kill the witch. Dorothy takes a bucket of water because she didn't know what to do. The witch had now got her trapped in a corner with her friends, and she didn't have nothing else but this bucket of water that happened to be laying on the floor. She throws the water onto the witch. The witch melts. I'm melting. Water is purification. For those that don't know the special tributes that water has. Why do you think there's a big struggle with getting water? Why having good, pure water is such an issue? Right? It's because it's got purifications to it. It helps us clean our body, Right, Big Cat? Drop that drink your water in here for us, please. Let them know what water does for us. Gets the skin looking good. When you get baptized, you're not getting baptized in oil, right? They don't take you to the river and baptize you. Or rather to a oil mine. They take you to the river and put you in the water. Or they take you to the ocean and dunk you in the water, right? It's purification. It kills the witch. Now, she gets the broom. She goes back to the wizard and says, I killed this witch. Wizard says, oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Even sea creatures prefer water over bottle. You know what I'm saying? So they're like, what do you mean that's it? Go home. You thank you for helping him. That's it. Comes back and was like, yo, the dog started sniffing around the little area. Dorothy's getting a little pissed now. The little cowardly lion starting to start his little roar, like, what? Toto opens up the curtain, and there's a little man hiding behind the curtain. What does the wizard say? Pay attention to the little man behind the curtain. Or pay no attention to the little man behind the curtain. Because the big fiery head is talking. Right? The big fiery head is like, pay attention. Or don't pay attention to the little man behind the curtain. The little man behind the curtain was also from Kansas, who found his way into the land of Oz. And because he had this balloon, this air weather balloon that can fly him out to wherever, he landed in this magical world. Ooh, what does that sound like? What does that sound like? How invaders come and conquer certain lands and make you think that they're good? All along, you are enslaved. So these theologians, Elbaum, C.L. Lewis, right? The as I told you about the Chronicles of Narnia, and Tolkien, they had Christian background, but they also were theologians. And my brother Panero can tell us because he's in the UK, so he knows about that. I would love to. I didn't coordinate this correctly here. This is all more spiritually led, but they were theologians, so they had this think tank of dissecting the Bible and fitting it to, alchemizing it to fit their narrative in a sense, right? But they still kept in with their Christian way of teaching in these books, right? Because in these books, it gave us this our sense of self. And we have to go through these trials and tribulations to get to the end of the tunnel, aka us, right? Now I'm going to finish with Dorothy. She then says, listen, how do we get back home then? He says, you know what? I still got this weather balloon. We can go. I'll take you back home. He already gave I forgot what he gave the lion. I like the lion. The lion and the Tin Man were my favorite. Scarecrow was, cool, but the lion and maybe that's because I have Leo in me, but they were my favorites if I had to pick. The Tin Man had a dope dance scene, and I know where Michael Jackson got. I see you, Mike. I see you. Michael Jackson got his moves from the Tin Man, especially when the Tin Man does his little dip down and comes back up. I see you. But anyway, so Bonnet's in the building. Salute. Yup, eat that honey, get that money. And so they this little wizard gives, the heart, this little badge or whatever to the Tin Man, and he gives the lion a little royal crown and a royal little the purple heart for courage, right? That's what you give to your soldiers. So you give them this purple heart, and then he says to Dorothy, you know what? I still have the balloon. I can get it, fixed, and we can fly up out of here. He flies out before Dorothy can get on because, again, Toto now runs away. So Glenda comes down and she's like, damn, well, how do I get out of here? I want to get back home. And Glenda's like, all you got to do is clap your feet 3 times and say there's no place like home. Notice, guys, 2 things in 3s, that's invoking something, right? I'm not talking spooky stuff. I'm talking real-ish, that this is what they do. This is what we need to know, because we need to get back into our essence. Know that your words carry vibrations. Your words, if you speak, it's abracadabra. That's casting spells, right? It's not about the evil stuff. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But she said to Dorothy, click your heels 3 times and repeat, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. What that meant was, home is you. Home is you. There's no place like it. You are the governor of yourself, mind, body, and soul. That's in 3s, right? The Trinity, the Holy Trinity is what? Father, Son, Spirit, right? That's what I'm telling you. Let's get out of the spooky that they try to tell us is spooky, because that's not. They know it. We should know it. So everything that you say, if you want to do a spell or if you're doing your intentions, you do it 3 times, right? Because that's what brings life into it. If you want to say to your water, fill me with blessings, fill me with blessings, fill me with blessings, fill me with blessings, right? I maybe said that 4 times. But you drink it, you've talked life into your water. And now you're drinking that life that you're bringing into your water or into your food. May this orange give me strength. 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 It's mind over matter. So don't let these people fool you. Pay no attention to the little man behind the curtain, because it's in you all along. So that's what I'm saying. When you know who you are, everything that's going around outside of you, that's just what it is. I know, Big Cat, that's what they're doing. But they can talk about all this gang stuff out there. They can talk about Johnny Depp and his wife. I know. It's not adding up. Why? I was watching somebody the other day and on YouTube, and they made up her name is Queen Amadama Shakur. Somebody has said, why did they keep Nature Boy's videos up on YouTube for years? And this man was doing all kinds of nefarious things to women, men now, talking real reckless, right? But my little 5-hour me talking about real stuff, they took that video down. Or they've taken, like, some of these brothers that are out here talking real stuff, taking their whole channel down. But they keep foolishness up there, and that's for what? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it is what it is. I know who, you got to know the devil you dance with. And I'm not saying anything crazy. I'm just I'm here to make us think, because I'm thinking. Now, if I'm saying something out of character, okay, somebody let me know. But what I'm trying to say is that everything that goes on the outside and all these little trials and tribulations that we go through, it's because we have to go through that so that we can find self first, right? Sure, we'll have some friends and family members along the way going on this journey with us, as we saw with Dorothy and, the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and the Lion, right? But they all had their own purpose. They all were like, listen, well, we'll join you. We'll get down with you, but this is what we want, because this is what we need. Bless who's in the building. Salute. Or base rule. I'm sorry. I haven't seen you in a minute. Peace. So therefore, they do have a purpose in your life, but they're not meant to continue the journey out with you. So we need to give homage and thanks to those people that have come through with us, and not have too much malice in our heart, because they're here. They've been sent either by you or by a higher purpose or a higher being to either deter you off your path or to kickstart your path. And stories like The Hobbit, where you have, the four little hobbits, and they got to go on a quest to, get this ring, and, the Middle Earth. And then look at that story. The Middle Earth was really, what was that? Earth. And then you had the underground, right? And then you had the giants. That's all real. But they don't want you to know that. So they put it in movies and they put it in books, and it's all coming out of, hold on, y'all, wait for the coup de grace. It's all coming out of the Bible. So I'm watching this woman on YouTube, rather, I'm listening to her, and she's connecting all the dots for me, spiritually speaking. Yes, it's all biblical. That guy Tolkien was a theologian and a Christian. C.L. Lewis, the one who wrote Alice in Wonderland, that's another Christian. Which, when I went to Catholic school, that's how I found out about The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And I was like, oh, I love this movie. Now, peep this. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. You see how they always got to have a witch. And they make the witches to be these evil beings, right? But witches are not evil. They're misunderstood, like Quasimodo, Big Cat said. They're misunderstood because they know how to they know the lay of the land. They know how to use herbs and stuff like that to heal, right? And it puts it in a little tonic, and it makes it look like that's potion when it's really not potion. It's just herbs and tonics and teas. Witches are not evil. But because it's a man matriarch and that's their predominant society, they want to say that the woman is evil. But she ain't evil when you laying down with her. So stop it. Miss me with the madness. She's not evil when you're doing things. Okay. She's only evil when she tells you no, aka Lilith, aka let's now create another woman, Eve, who's submissive. Because Lilith was like, yo, we're equals, bro. I don't want to get on the bottom. You get on the bottom. I don't know if that story is true or not. But it sounds credible. Where Adam is like, I'm going to go get me another woman who's submissive and subservient. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, all day long. Because Lilith was like, nah, I want to get my rocks off too. Oh God, I love her. Now that I know about Lilith, I'm like, yo, she's the ultimate woman. Eve is dope. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to have these different dichotomies of people. But Lilith was the first wife to Adam. According and allegedly. No one could prove this. You have your theologians that probably could go down some lineage, but come on. Right? But remember who wrote these books. They were all men. And I'm not here to bash the men. I'm not. Please, this is not a podium for that. I love you. You know what I'm saying? That's how I got here. Isn't the Chronicles of Narnia? Right. It is the Chronicles of Narnia, Pamela. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was the first book. Then you have the Prince of Caspian. I forgot what the other three books are. Other two books rather. But the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is something similar to a not Alice in Wonderland, is like Dorothy. Again, with the witches, and she turned the whole land into ice. She's the ice queen. Now the lion, who was named Aslan, is actually God. They don't want to tell you that, but because I went to Catholic school, they covered this up in plain sight. And I didn't learn about this until later on in life, that the lion was actually God. She had tricked the daughters of Eve. Rather, excuse me, she tricked the son of Adam because there was 2 brothers and 2 sisters. There were 4 children. What did I tell you? 4. They play out with that. And so they call them the daughters of Eve and the sons of Adam, right? That's how you know it's a Christian book. You know it's a Christian writer. It's C.L. Lewis. And yeah. Oh, you're welcome, Big Cat. Yeah. We're all learning here. We're all in this together. That's what I'm trying to say. But you know, there's other things out here that want to wrap us up and get our attention and turn and twist things around when that's not really the case. We have to question everything. Now that we're in this age of Aquarian and we have this technology, we have to question it all, because it's certain things are just not making sense, and certain things are making so much sense that you're like, that's it. I found it. I found it. And so with the Chronicles, one of the brothers turns against his siblings because the witch was coaxing him and saying, oh, you know, you can have Turkish delights and, you know, warm cups of chocolate. And, you know, she was wooing him and rousing him to turn against his brothers, but even more so to turn against Aslan, who is the big lion of the land. And so they have this big battle of the witch and her little minions against all of Narnia's, you know, all of Narnia's land, right? And the lion says, no, you're not going to sacrifice anybody. I'm going to be the sacrifice. And goes to the witch. Because he didn't want the kids to feel like they betrayed him. So he's like, don't you worry, I will go to the witch and let her do what she needs to do. And that's what the witch did. She killed the lion. And on the 3rd day, he rose and came back and killed her ass. He banished her and her little minions. And all the land was back to normal again. So they use these type of metaphors to get us to realize that even if you don't subscribe to the Bible, they use these stories out of it. They're parables, right? When we listen to the stories about Jesus and turning this and the mustard seed and all that stuff, they're parables. They help us in life to realize what we got to do. But there's things that are hidden from us so that we don't know who we really are. And in here, they know who we are. They know about the lost tribes. And we're part of those tribes. Not everybody, because you have the 2 sons who, what? One didn't like the other because what? One was highly favored. And those 2 sons are Esau and Jacob. Jacob was the highly favored son. But they were twins. And Esau came out holding his brother's foot, right? Red. So Esau, as I've come to realize, he's what's turning Babylon, aka certain lands of the world, you know, they are doing the nefarious thing. So it's like, oh, okay, now it's making sense. Now it's making sense. Why would certain things that are turned around, pushed out east, so we don't see what's going on in the West? When in the West, that's where things were getting popping. So we have to do that Dorothy thing and know that everything is within us. So even if you see certain things that you watch, that you subscribe to on, you know, social media, if it's not resonating with you, don't subscribe to it. because there's a lot of stuff that's being brought up, like it's like bubbling over with a lot of information. There's a lot of people that are just, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you got to realize, why is that? What is so golden? Thank you, CJ. Salute, salute. What is so golden that you have to deter our minds away from where we're at? Did you ever wake up and wonder, why was I born here and not there? Or did you ever wonder why you have more affinity to certain places than you do from where you're at? That's because that's where your soul resides. That's probably where you were coming from. It's this reincarnation kind of thing. Harry Potter's like that too with the sorcerer. Yeah, Sorcerer's Stone. He said with my Now Harry Potter, that was a chick, but she came later. She's of our century, but those other guys, they were big time theologians. They definitely were in it heavy, dissecting Bibles, dissecting. Why is the Vatican so sacred? Here's the other thing. Why church and state is separate? But in Henry Tudor's time, he said, no, I am above church. You can grant me this divorce. This man was above. So when you do the bloodlines, or I don't know if you could do the bloodlines, but if you can do the bloodlines, the chart has him under Esau. And remember, Henry's hair was red. His daughter Elizabeth, her hair was red. King Ramsey, who the second, his hair was red. They're all coming from the Esau. So while they had us glorifying these people and thinking that they real, now I like me some King Henry, don't get me wrong, and I like me some Ramses, but they're the real culprits. The children coming from the bloodline of Jacob, which is Israel, which is the 12 tribes, those are the truly highly favored ones. So again, it makes me question why everybody keeps pointing to the East and in the West, when here in the United States, how come I didn't, like, I'm going to be 46. I just, in the past couple of years, just found out that we got mounds and stuff here in the United States. We got pyramids here. I knew about Mexico. I visited one. Okay, CJ. I need you on. I'm in the tribe of Benjamin. Tribe of Benjamin. He's the baby of the tribe. So he's the warrior. He's about it. But he too fell short of helping his brothers out. But he was the youngest. So it's but so much the baby could do. His big brothers got to step in and do things. His big brothers are here. But some of them are sheep right now. They're under the spell of Esau and them. So I don't want to say the word Bab, because then it's I'm not going to. So all along, America was the true land. But then Esau's kids was like, we're going to mess this up. And we're going to throw everything east. We're going to go out there. Because the guys, the pyramid, what is it? Let me get this pyramid here. The biggest pyramid in America. And when I say America, I'm talking about South and North America, which is in Mexico. I forgot the name of it, but I'm going to look it up. The largest is in, or one of y'all might be able to tell me in the chat. Thank you, CJ. Um, hold on, because we're gonna pin the tail on the donkey is what we're gonna do today. I was asking what's the biggest pyramid? Chul Chula, the biggest pyramid in the Americas. What's the name of that pyramid? Is what I'm trying to ask. I can't say those words. Tahuti built it. Well, what part of Tahuti? There's this other book that you guys could look into. It's called The Lost Tribes and Promised Lands of America by Ronald Sanders. I'm gonna get that. So the Great Pyramid of Chol is Choulula. Cholula. Excuse me. I think I might be spelling that right, saying that right. But this pyramid is the biggest. And it also has a church sitting on top of it. It's bigger than the Pyramid of Giza, or Giza, however you want to pronounce it. So how is it that now it's becoming unearthed because through time and people digging and stuff, these the shrubage and the wildlife is starting to come down off of these pyramids. So people are starting to see that there's more than one or bigger pyramids out here than there are east. And so for a very, very, very long time, as I said, I'm 46. So for my 40 years of life learning, I always knew about Egypt and of course in Mexico, but I didn't know that within the United States we had our own mounds and pyramids, that there's not just mountains, that there's big mounds in Ohio, Mississippi. What? That's all connected to Mexico. It's all connected. So it baffles me because so the real question is, why has that all been tossed aside? So apparently it's because the who they would call the Native Americans were actually the gatekeepers, or the people to clean up the mess of the Esau family, so that nobody really knows the true civilization. They don't really know the true children of God, so they cover it up. So yeah, so technically the natives are the I wouldn't say they're the inheritors of the land, but they're the gatekeepers. They're the maintenance men, basically, for better lack of words. And I'm not trying to disrespect them. I'm just saying, when we start revealing and uncovering truths about who we are, everybody has a part in this. No matter how dastardly your family is, and no matter how civilized your family is, we all have a part in this storyline. And so we need to pay attention. So when the wizard was telling us, or telling Dorothy rather, pay no attention to the little man behind the curtain, no, we need to ask questions. We need to do our due diligence and research. And what resides in you, that's what you hone in on. Sometimes our faith gets a little shaky because there's people, as I now come to realize, that those people that present to us sweet talkers, soothe speakers, smooth talkers, something like that, they down with the Esau crew, because they're the snakes of the world. They're the snakes of the world, right? And that 444G is what we need to be listening to raise our frequency, our vibration. Thank you, Big Cat. That's right, CJ. So let me just read real quickly, because I'm on my phone and usually it blurs your comments out. So yes, soothsayers, Mesopotamia, but they won't. Right. Okay. Yes, the ancient civilizations behind Niagara Falls. See, and I didn't know that. Look at that. So we have here, CJ says that there's a civilization, ancient civilization behind Niagara Falls. It's crazy that you mentioned that, because now I'm thinking, like, you know how they keep it guarded where you can't really go to Niagara, like you can't go like really too, like you can only be like on the outside watching the falls, but they don't really want you like in the water. I mean, you know, for protection reasons, why, you know, like so you don't hurt yourself. But it's guarded. They don't want you to go through them waterfalls. So some of these things here, they can also go big cat. That you guys can also go to my Foxy Moon's spiritual alchemist, Foxy Moon _spiritual alchemist on Instagram. The IG, the other page is my private page. But the Foxy Moon _ spiritual alchemist is my IG page. So I will leave us with a wisdom oracle. We're almost at an hour. I don't want to go too, there's not too much to say other than just this, is that, you know, now is the time to question everything. Now is the time to do more research, because things are starting to be uncovered. The children of Esau are all scrambling around now. They can no longer hide their hand. They can no longer hide behind the curtain and be the wizard, because you have soothsayers that are coming out and speaking their truths. This is why a lot of platforms like that will get shut down, or people like that will get their certain things, you know, messed up or whatever, their numbers fidged, and or people don't get notifications. I just came on. I don't know if you got notifications or not, because I'm kind of like, well, I like to fly at the seat of my pants. Sometimes I don't. And sometimes I'm just spiritually led to just come on and give the message. I didn't know if I was going to do a Mindful Monday. So I wasn't completely prepped. But, you know, those are the things that were just coming to my mind. There were, you know, correlating with the Wizard of Oz. I found that very intriguing. And I always liked that reference where he's like, you know, that's like the climax of the movie is when the Dorothy and the gang get to the wizard and they kill the witch, and you know, he's like, nah, thank you for killing the witch. You know, I hope I could, you know, wish I could have helped you. Dorothy's going off. So we need to pay attention to when somebody tells us don't, because I've always been the one to be like, well, why not? Then what? I've always tested, and that's what got me in trouble. So this is nothing new. I used to get into detention for speaking my mind. But we have to remember our true bloodline, because that's what this is all about spiritually. And when I said we're at a spiritual warfare, that's what it is, because they want to, you know, hide who the true the rightful heirs to the throne are. And that's the children of Jacob. That's the tribe of Shabazz. Those are the lost tribes that are out here that don't know. You know, this is why we speak different languages. When we were all speaking one language, where we all understood each other. But when you go to different tribes, they have a different dialect. But you could still, like, for instance, if you speak Spanish, right? The Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Panamanians, who else? Especially in New York City, because we have like a plethora of different, right? So you can tell the different dialects. So like the Mexicans, or even like a Costa Rican or Venezuelan or a Argentinian, they speak like with their tongue. So it sounds like it's a lisp when they speak. And Puerto Ricans is kind of like a mix of like ghetto Spanish with like their own, you know, slang to it. But you can tell kind of, it's weird. You would have to like know how to speak Latin to understand, like, oh, my ears ringing. So you would have to be able to tell like the distinction. But all along, you still understand your brother, right? So now if I'm speaking Spanish to, an African person that, they have their own dialect, we won't understand each other. But if we're in the same tribe, this is what I'm saying, there's been caused confusion because they could technically be our brother and sister, right? But because we speak so different other languages, it can cause confusion. So it's good to know, and I have always wanted to study French, because French and Latin, because if you speak French, some of the Africans, if you listen to their dialect, it has French and cantons in it, like verbiage. Also, when you're speaking to somebody in Haiti, or you're speaking to somebody in Cuba, or or Louisiana. So that's what I'm saying. It's good to know these different languages, because then you're more savvy, and you can then now speak to your fellow brother and sister and get what you need to get across, right? But when you just know English, I don't know. It puts you in a disservice, because you can't get across what you need to get across, and lines of communications get conscried. So there's a lot of things that are happening that we need to just be mindful of. The race war and all this baiting us back and forth with each other. That's because the descendants of Esau have made that possible. That's what they want us. That's what their intention was. That's why they covered up everything here, and then did what they needed to do, and then went out east and did their destruction, and then it's like this back and forth. So, some people don't subscribe to ancient civilizations starting out in Africa. But if you look at the whole map, and they were all together, and the way that these people were able to twist the map upside down, sideways and right side, where the east is west and the west is east, who's to say that this wasn't here first? Who's to say that this civilization that was here in the Americas wasn't the true civilization, and that they didn't then start migrating out? Because how come is that pyramid that I just said that's in South America, or in Mexico rather, which is in South America, how come that's the largest one of the world? But you see how they flipped it. They kept telling us that the Giza pyramids were the biggest ones, right? But then Morgan Freeman just did this Natural Geographic not too long ago and said, come to Guatemala. Because that would be the one wonder of the first wonder of the world. Why would he say that? I wonder. Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass, that movie, or that book rather. Sorry guys. Oh, my brother Rich Mo's in the building. Salute, salute. Yeah, see, this is kind of bonkers when I'm reading oh, it's okay, CJ. I don't put other people's notifications on either, because then it's all, are you were born in Canada? Oh, salute to Canada. I still want to go up there. I want to go to Toronto. Okay, I'm just going to scroll through real quickly so I didn't miss anybody. Right, Judah is the big brother, and Benjamin. And see, Judah and Benjamin were like the besties of the brothers. And Judah's the oldest, and Benjamin's the baby, right? And they all correlate to the chakras. The chakras, right? Because we have 12 chakras. Now, if you can exceed to get 12 chakras, and you ignited all those chakras, then you're pretty good. But we know about the 7 chakras within us, right? The crown chakra, our third eye, which is the pineal, our throat chakra, the heart chakra, the solar plexus, which is in your stomach, the sacral chakra, which is like in your groin area, and then your root chakra, which would be like your orifices down at the bottom. The other chakras are the palms and your feet, and then you have some that are kind of just like right slightly above the crown chakra. That's the 12 tribes. And each one, Judah is the head and Benjamin is the feet. So I talked about this a couple of lives ago, maybe about a month ago. Listen, these epiphanies keep happening to me. I can't help it. So I gotta just enlighten us as we go along. Right, because as the vibes are precious at this moment. Now, listen, not all the Africans though. Let's be clear that now let me get this right, because Africa is here. Egypt is here. So they're all, because then we gotta go into the whole the Moors and the Berbers and all that history of the Tartarians and all that good stuff. And I'm still kind of like just touching the surface with them. They're the ones that were part of the Esau group, and they're the ones that caused this destruction of mass chaos, where they didn't want us to know who our true selves, the true tribe, Jacob, who we are. So this is why. That's why I'm like, I'm scratching my head like, but isn't America great? Like, that's what you gotta listen, y'all. Y'all have to. You can't see it. I don't know how to help you see it any clearer than this. We're protected in some shape, way, or form, believe it or not, because we could definitely have had a couple of hit or misses within the 1900s and now, of all kinds of warfare, right? Something, someone, or someones are preventing that. This could be godly, right? If you look at it that way. But America's sacred. America is a very sacred land, or the Americas, because Canada is part of that too. If you think it's all one whole stretch, it's South and North America combined together, and Canada is in that. They just have this imaginary line. That's why Canada is our cousin. So think of it that way. Think of it why it's so protected. They don't want us to know why, because it is a glorious land. But only certain people know that. Certain people have these books and these texts that they have hidden in archives, that they have hidden in libraries deep down underground. Okay, that know about this stuff. Maps, ancient maps that direct everything to, this was over here, that's over there, this was flipped up there, do-do-do-do, whoop-de-whoop, play the sleight of the hands. That's what magicians do, right? The descendants of Esau are magicians. They're wizards. So we don't need to be doing magic just if we're children of God. Because what we see, what we speak is law. What we say is law. Think about it back going just a couple of hundred or centuries back. Remember when you would hear the word, my word is law, or my word is bond? That's because your word, that's it. That's all you had. If you break your word, you break your bond. Some people will look at you like you're not good no more. Right? Why? This is what I'm saying. We got to pay attention to certain words that they've used that could seem like they're casting spells. Yes, they need to open up their heart chakra. Exactly, a big cat. Thank you, Rich. So, yeah, you know, when I was little, I thought I could be a pastor. That was the other thing. That's what I'm saying. Like I did a reading on myself. What was it, last week? And I don't really like to do readings on myself anymore. I had to do that to learn how to, so that I couldn't learn how to use the cards. But it's kind of weird to do readings on yourself because you're trying to listen to a higher message, but you're also of the flesh. So while you're thinking, oh, does this really mean what this means? And you're trying to decipher by using your spiritual mind, it's kind of a weird, dynamic sometimes. But I took it for what it was. And it was saying that I need to go back to my roots. And that's not roots about where my land is. It was my roots being spiritual. And not so much spiritual, more religious. And no, I'm not going to be on my Bible thumping business, but I grew up that way, where I grew up in a Christian household. You know, if I went over to my grandmother's house, we were going to church on Sundays. And my grandmother wasn't preachy, but she was a woman of faith, and it carried out until now, even when she's transitioned. And she was a praying woman, but she never was like, oh God, you know, like that type of thing. She was never like using the word against me. And I don't like when people do that shit. Like, don't do that. Don't use that against me. Because half these people that are talking to you like that are not living in their true God-like body. They're not. They hide behind clothing, religious zets. They're hiding behind books. And they're not living in their true God self. So that's why we got to be mindful about who we subscribe to, who we listening to, what we're watching, you know, because there are people like we see, like the Jim Joneses of the world, right? And I'm not talking about the rapper. These people have a way, like I said, not they sweet talk you. They look a certain kind of way. Instagram is doing that with us, right? They got people out here looking like they really doing something that they not. They're not. Drinking the Kool-Aid. Right? Like, this is what's happening with that boy who just got snatched up in Atlanta. Sipping the scissors. He was saying that. He was like, I wasn't telling these, I didn't kidnap these women. I didn't kidnap these people. They just willingly came along with it. Why? Because he was talking that hot stuff. He was talking real hot. I watched it. I watched 2, maybe 3 of his little Instagrams. And I was like, he sounded like he was making sense. But then he was like, what got me, what made me think he's dodgy was he was trying to milk Wi-Fi. And he was like in South America somewhere. And he was trying to milk the Wi-Fi. And he kept like trying to move to different like locations so he could do his YouTube live. And I was like, nah, this guy he's no bueno for me. That's a no. That's a big no for me. And I stopped watching him because I was like, he was giving me narcissist traits and talking real fly and stuff. And I was like, I don't think I can listen to him anymore. And I stopped. And now look, years, and he was on YouTube for years. I mean, since like maybe 2015, 2016 when I saw him, 17. So he's been on it for years. And no one batted an eye. Now everything is censored. I almost have to really think about what I need to say because of censorship. And because it's like, I'm not on that level. I'm not here to bring gossip and chaos and talk about people. And so I'm the average Joe. So they're going to be like, yeah, the average Joe, you're not bringing nothing to the table. Well, to my people, whoever needs to hear that, I am. But that's neither here nor there. I will not dispute. But we need to know that who we subscribe to sometimes are not these people that they appear to be. And so even stories like Alice in Wonderland, where, you know, I mean, Disney showed us that. That movie was about using hallucinogens and stuff. This little girl eat me, drink me, edibles. She had edibles in the when did that movie come out? She was eating edibles. No, not my big cat. You got kicked out. Oh no. I believe it. Oh man. You see? I don't know why. And then it shows there's no one there. So I guess I must be seeing some things. But that's all, guys. It's just to really be on point, because there are, the more that this so-called Esau's family starts to crumble, and things get a little more hairier. We're going to be going through these times, but you have to question everything. You have to, if it's not making sense for you, you got to then be like, you're very welcome, you're very welcome. Yes, everyone, exactly, CJ. Even with me, you know what I'm saying? I mean, what you see is what you get for the most part. I do have my little moments, but who doesn't? You know what I'm saying? Who's not perfect, but you got to question the ones who put up a persona of themselves into a way where it's just like there's a huge following with them, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like, those are the type of things that you need to question. Like, why? What are they doing? What do they got to offer? Um, and like I said, just with things that are just being hidden, like, why does that need to be hidden? Why is it, you know, why don't we know the truth? Yeah, and like I was saying before, oh, it's okay, big cat. You're here. I feel you. You're always in my mind. So, um, like I said before, that I got deterred a little bit was that when I was little, they would have this while the adults had the sermon during the church session, they would send the little kids off to Sunday school ish, and the adults would then hear what the pastor's saying without interrupting the other kids. I didn't want to sit down there with them and with the little kids. My grandmother was on the choir, and so was my uncle. So I wanted to be up there upstairs with my grandmother. And they'd be like, so my grandmother, she's back up here again. And then my grandmother would be like, well, go sit down with Miss So-and-so. And she was like, as long as you're quiet. Yeah, she give me that look. I sit there quiet and listen to what the pastor was saying. I didn't want to hear, not trying to, diss any Sunday school teachers, but I didn't want to hear what I didn't want to hear this little light of mine. I wanted to hear the real stuff, what the pastor was talking about. And that was just influential for me. So when I did my reading, it was like, you got to go back into those kind of roots. You got to go back to the source of things, how you started. And yeah, while spirituality works hand in hand, but you gotta go to the text sometimes and go through the messages, because inside this book has messages where you gotta dissect it. You know what I'm saying? So it starts to make sense for you, because that stuff right there, I was like, so Jacob and Esau, and then I'm like, yo, yeah, Henry Tudor had red hair, Ramsey had red hair, Esau was red. And they disrupted the shift of things. There's this control system, Borgias, right? When we hear the Borgias, and how he bribed his way into becoming a pope. He also was black, or melanated rather. And when the other cardinals that was around him, they used to call him a Corsica. That was really a derogatory word for calling him black or melanated or nigga. And so he bought his way into becoming a pope. Now, his reign was very, if you're a pope, you're supposed to be close to God, right? You're supposed to, like, he was one way in front of everybody, and then behind the scenes, supposedly he was having sexual relations with his daughter, allegedly. He had bore numerous children out of wedlock. Same thing with Medici, the Medici family. They're also coming out of that tribe of Esau. So those bloodlines still continue along, and this is what they're supposed to do, that they know they have to disrupt the norm, disrupt the true children of God, the true children of light. And so and so that's what their mission is. But some of us are waking up. Some of us are seeing the light that is like, yeah, that's not making sense. Yeah, no. What you're telling me is not, it's not really jiving or it's so right. And why certain things can stick and others can't stick, we got to question that. Why is that? Why would they allow certain behaviors and people on social media to carry out, but others they can't? Why? They're really trying to mess with us. That's all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's okay. Now, if I sat here and talked about Will Smith, so I was watching the Johnny Depp court. I don't know what's wrong with Johnny, but he seemed very he's trying to give a parable for everything that's being said, but he's being careful about what he's saying, because I think he's trying to sue the wife or the ex-wife. It's a defamation trial. So what that is, she's trying to discredit his character. But all along, we've known that Johnny's had issues with drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. No surprise. This chick came along. You know, again, we need to give our hats off to people that come in to rock our boat as much as they rock it. And we need to give homage to the ones that are really true for us and here for us for the betterment of our lives. But those people who are here to stir the boat, it builds character for you. It strengthens you up. That's all it is doing. Because if you didn't have these tests, like I said, with Dorothy going through the land of Oz, right? She had to go through different little trials and tribulations. She had to go through the forest and battle the monkeys and the flying monkeys and stuff like that, right? If we don't have those types of trials and tribulations in our life, then you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we? We don't really have a character then. We have to battle some beast out here. Because those are our true tests. That's your true, you know, there's this saying that God gives his strongest or his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. So you ever wonder, and you look at somebody and they're like, damn, they shouldn't have been here. They made it through all this. They made it through all that. And they still here. I mean, those are the people you need to worry about. Those are the people you need to be like, wow. Not worry about, but those are the people that you know not to mess with them. That you know that they have been through it all. And they're here. They're the testimony and the test of time. So, yeah, while certain situations we kind of step into, others kind of come to us. And you got to realize that. Just be mindful about that. What that is. How does that look for you? How do you allow that to affect your life? How do you allow these people to affect your life? Subscribing, and not only just on social media, but subscribing to things in real time, in real life. You know, if you always hanging around with somebody that's always just talking about the next person, that's not doing nothing, right? Or if somebody's always just calling you just because they want to dump on you and talk to you about their life and their boyfriend or their girlfriend, and That's not doing nothing but lowering your frequency. It's the same thing with watching TV and social media. You know, everything is flooded about this whatchamacallit. I don't even know what's going on. This what is it, whack 100? I don't know what that is. Who what is that? I don't know what that is. But he was circulating when I was on Clubhouse, and I had to get off of Clubhouse. Bonnet, you were on Clubhouse, right? I don't know if you were on Clubhouse. Were you on Clubhouse, Bonnet? I had to get out. It's like, it really is just a lot of, they're more toxic. No, okay. I forgot who was on Clubhouse on here. There are a lot of toxic people on there that just want to, like, they want to air themselves out. Oh, that's what it is. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense why his name circulates. Makes perfect sense. Again, that's why I'm like, why does this name keep popping up? Because I don't know who they are. You know, and I wasn't about that life. I did a couple of little deviant things, you know, in childhood and my teenage, but I never hang out with bangers, dealers. I really, you know, me getting pregnant at an early age was enough to be like, no, you need to get your life straight. And that scared, that, I was so scared for my parents and my family to know that I was like, damn, I'm pregnant. Like that, you might as well tell them you selling drugs. Like, I mean, for me to get pregnant at 15 was like, so I never really did that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the people that I hung out with was just really about just chilling, smoking, and listening to music and just, you know, doing their thing, just going to work. Yeah, Bonnet. That's why I'm like, I don't. So, but they keep talking about them. And one time, the one particular group that I was in with Clubhouse had the guy come through. I was like, because they started going back and forth. I was like, ooh, I disconnected out of the group. Another thing is, I don't want to know nothing. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, because then you don't know. Sometimes you gotta be deaf, dumb, and blind out here, because the less you know about stuff is the better it is for you, and you're not getting in wrapped up into nothing. Yeah, and I'm confused about that too, because that's another name that keeps coming through. And you know, I listened to this man, Rod Hayes, and he's been on a couple of platforms, but mainly he's been on Black Magic 363 on YouTube. And I've watched some of his Instagrams, and everything that he says up until that name, that hashtag person, loses me. Because I'm like, now again, because I'm not about that. I don't really know what that really all means. But if I'm gonna be talking about free anybody, I'm gonna be talking about free Matula Shakur, Mia Jamal. That's who I'm gonna be talking about. If anybody needs to be freed. So I don't know how that works out in real time. And then they've been so far removed. You know, we could see how these young guys are really just like, they don't want to hear nobody. They're not really going to listen to their grandfather who just came home. You know what I'm saying? Like, those people are so far removed from each other. I don't know how that would work out. Yeah, you know, and Kanye was talking, he was screaming up all that stuff too. And I'm like, Kanye is another person that you need to look at him side-eyed. Um, Pretty much everybody now. For me, I'm just side-eyed. Like, you ain't Pac. That's it. Hip hop died when Pac died. For me, I listen to the Woo, but I'm listening to 90s music. I'm listening to all 90s rap. I liked Pop Smoke, but because he was a young kid that was trying to get through, and maybe had he, I mean, he was only 20, but his voice, his voice was a resonator. So when you listen to like a Pac or a DMX, like their voices, they captivate. Kanye can probably do that as well. Kanye, he's a Gemini, so he's split both ways. He's talking hot because his kids are under duress or whatever the case may be. But before all that, you talking about Eli is your brother, or Elon is your brother. You bigging up all these people, Bellagio and all that. I don't even know how to say that. You talk real hot about them like those are your peoples. But now the tables have turned. Like Pac said, switch sides. And now you singing a different tune and you want everybody to come join the bandwagon with you. Nah, Kanye. Nah. When he said what he said in 2005 about the Hurricane Katrina and out there in Louisiana, I was riding with you, Kanye. And then you done bumped and lost your head. And I understand, you lost your mama. You lost your black queen. The only one that could speak life into you. I get it, Kanye. So now you down with Esau's people. Okay. You have nothing. You can't help me out. Nothing you did made me like, not the way like a Black Panthers, Tupac Shakur, Tupac Amaru, the Inca warrior, who was then reincarnated into Lassane Parish Crooks. Don't let me get my Dick Gregory on you. Yeah, CJ, that's what him. We want the old thing back. That's what we want. We want the old thing back. Yeah, Rich, I don't know who that is either. I kind of think I do. It does get deeper. It gets deeper by the minute. This is why we have to question things more now than ever before, because the rabbit holes are being exposed. Literally the holes. Like, how come there's this big talk about Antarctica now? Like, before nobody was talking about that, and now this has come up, right? I think it was 2017 or 2019, the New York Times has now said, oh yes, we do have aliens. Right? They're just starting to expose this stuff while we're coming into the age of Aquarius. So, ooh, Larry Beach is in the building. Salute, salute. That's the Titan right there. That's one of the Titans. Yeah, so you're gonna have to hit the game later, Rich. But I think I know who the other person is, but listen, we had our own stuff going on in the Bronx. Like, during that time frame, we had from the late 70s to the late 80s. We had a bunch of influences, but mainly it was all coming out of derivatives of the Nation of Islam, which was really coming from, Temple Mosque 7, which was coming out of Malcolm's camp, right? So once they assassinated him, some of his peoples, they scattered, and they started making up their own kind of incorporations, because they didn't want to really be down with with the Nation of Islam in that per se. So, you know, little gangs started coming, and I don't want to say gangs in that respect, but groups were starting to be formed out of that. But then out of that birthed the Black Panthers. And then here we had Assata Shakur, we had Afeni Shakur, we had Matula Shakur, we had Zayd Shakur that were, you know, cleaning up the heroin addicts, that were cleaning up the veterans that were getting sick from the heroin, that were coming back from the war and coming here to the Bronx, where, you know, they were helping them detox from that. And apparently that's a big no-no. It's a big no-no. You don't clean up the community. You don't do that. And so this is why he's still in jail. Matula Shakur, Zayd Shakur. So that left a lot of the little underlings, if you will, to then start with, you know, different gangs. You know, we had the Latin gangs, and we had the Decepticons, and we had all, you know, like we knew all these names, but I wasn't trying to be around all that. Like, because they didn't all have the best intentions. Like, they weren't all trying to get together and fight against the establishment. They were harming the establishment, and it's still going on to this day. It's getting worse because now you got guns. Back then they didn't really have access to guns. Now that everybody's almost got a gun in their hand and they doing all the stuff. And so again, it's almost like subscribing to certain people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that whole Pop Smoke thing where it's like he's showing what he has, and now it's like, oh, well, pull up. This is that age. We didn't do that back then. It wasn't like that. I'm not saying that it was better. It was different. And this crew now is like, they are wayward children. We lost the grip on them. But if you try to get somebody to come back from ancient times and try to connect that, I don't know if that's going to really work. I don't know if that's going to work. Yes, it's Gotham over here. It's literally Gotham. You can see New York City play out in all kinds of storylines right now. From the shootings in the Bronx and Brooklyn to, I mean, basically that's what it is. They're going back and forth. Not with each other, just within the neighborhoods. You know, for what? Because it's that, oh, you got your money, or you flashing, or you this, you appear to look like you're somebody on social media, but they don't know that you living in a Section 8 project apartment. You're not living the high life. You may have Gucci belts and Gucci slippers and whatever, but you're not living that life. So a lot of this social media, a lot of these type rappers and stuff like that, they I don't want to say the industry has a responsibility, but to an extent, they need to be mindful about how they conducting themselves. Thank you, Big Cat. Yeah, I need to get one. It's not a pinky ring. It's on my ring finger. So this is a smoky quartz that was handmade for me. And this is a citron. But I do need to get a pinky ring, because the pinky ring is intuition. So each of your fingers has different, it's your Saturn, your Mercury, your Venus, which is the ring finger is Venus. That's love. And it all depends on which hand. So the left hand is intuition. The right hand is action. So everything is all scientific. Once you get to the bottom of things, it's all science and spirit. And they work hand in hand. They work together. But when you start picking apart things and not, when you start acting like you really above, that's when that's a problem. That's when nature goes against you. That's when all the things start to happen. And I'm not saying if you live a righteous life either that certain things can't happen. Because it's all by design. But like I said, if you don't put your neck into certain people's business, you're not going to get it chopped off. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you're going around and being around that type of environment, chances are you're going to get wrapped up into it. You know what I'm saying? I had a best friend that was like, you know, I was a teenage mom. We was like, let's try to get some money. She's like, let's go to the strip joint. I went in there one night because it was one of her girlfriends, and she was my best friend, but she went in to see her girlfriend. And she was like, let's see if, you know, maybe she was trying to pimp me out. I love her though. She's like, you know, go talk to them, because I was the only one that had a kid at that age. All my girlfriends, all my best friends didn't have any kids, and we were all like 14, 15 years old. So when I came back from Virginia, you know, she was like, yeah, let's look into going to the strip joint and getting some money. And I'm like, I ain't selling my ass. Man, I sat there for like a good 20 minutes and I saw these chicks and I was just like, yeah, no. The spot was seedy in the Bronx. It smelled like Badussi and Bath and Body Works lotion. It smelled like stale sex. I was just like, I was like, look, girl, we out of here. Tell so-and-so, nope, no thank you. And eventually the best friend that took me into the spot, she got a telemarketing job. And she calls me up and she was like, listen, I got another spot. And I'm like, no. She meant well, because she knew that I was a teenage mom. I needed money. And so I got legit. Oh my God. And I worked, you know, as a telemarketer for AT&T back in the days. This girl was like, listen, we need to go in there. I was like, no. So even though she was like, come on, she didn't have a gun to my head. She didn't pull a rag over me and kidnap me and bring me there. You have decisions to make. It's up to you. That's how you want to roll out. But I watched those black exploitations and Pimp and Big Mac and stuff. I was like, no, I don't do no prostitution. I'm not selling ass. I'm not selling stuff. I'm gonna be legit. So I might be a square. And so this is why certain things go over my head, because I'm not about that life. I never inserted myself. I never try to be like that. I never try to, you know, never try to do the tough Tony thing, because there's something bigger than you. There's somebody bigger than you. If you think you the big shit, there's somebody bigger than you. So I try to just play my part. Play the left. Play the wall. Peep everything out. Certain things I'm just not going to do. You know? I'm just not going to do it. Oh, sure. Okay, hold on. The Bean transits. I think we were just in a transit. Right, Pamela? She said, yep, over my head too. It is a random number. I don't care. So yeah, the pinky, let me, oh, it's on my phone. But, so Big Cat had a question about the rings. Well, you know, your left hand is the ring finger where your wedding band would go. But your pinky fingers are intuition. But on the left side, it's spiritual. On the right side, it's action. Right? And if you have, I think this is Saturn. So if you have a ring finger on your thumb, one is the action, and Saturn is about expansion. It's about doing. Also, the different, whether you have, like, these are copper. The material here is copper. So copper is a conductive or conduit, right? Okay, I'll get back to you right quick, CJ. And so gold has a different element to it, and silver has a different element to it. So if you wear silver, that's more intuition, more spiritual. Gold again is more action. So it's more like grounding. So, and if you put copper on, you're just getting the energy from that, because we have copper in us as well. It just electrifies us, brings that energy more closer to us. The smoky quartz is for spiritual protection, but it's also a grounding crystal to keep you, works with the root chakra. So if you're feeling a little unbalanced, or if you're having these flight or fight type of feelings, it's good to have a smoky quartz or a red jasper. The children of Benjamin have the red jasper. What else? So even the 12 tribes have their own different crystals and their own different quartz that correlate with them. I forgot what the ring fingers are. I think this is Mercury. So this is your communication. Your middle finger is Saturn. And I forgot what the other, and Mercury. So I had it on my phone, but I'm using my phone now, so I can't look into it. Maybe I can do it on my computer. Now the transits in Venus, I don't know what's that going on right now. I know that we just had a Venus in Pisces, but we also have big transits as far as like the South Node and the North Node for CJ, and he was asking about that. Right now we have the North Node in Taurus and the South Node in Scorpio. How does that look? That's for the way the land is. And we also have a Pluto return for the United States. So they're going through their karmic. Let's see what. Hold on a second. Shell, la 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 la. I never liked the pinky ring because always pinky rings, to me, I always kind of thought them like being fruity. But now it comes to find out that it's about intuition. So I'm gonna get me like a copper ring. But yeah, just know that the ring finger is like meaning for love, relationships, beauty. Oh, I love Phil Valentine. Yeah, he's dope. So that'd be the perfect person to get that information from. Voodoo's in the building. Yay! Salute. Mindful. Emperor Voodoo's here. Hold on a second, y'all, because my door, these people. It's Monday. Okay. So yeah, I don't really know too much about the Venus transits and stuff, but Phil Valentine's a great person to get that information from. North Node is dealing with, I know my mother wants me there too. She really, truth be told, Big Cat, that's where Spirit is calling. Spirit's been telling me about that spot down there, and I'm like, I can't deal with all that heat. You gotta do some things, right? So I'm lighting up Palo Santo. Palo Santo is good to clear out the energy, also to keep the energy calm. So we light that up. Ooh, okay, cool. Very good. Okay, that sounds like a deal. That just went right into my eye. So this is just to clear the energy, right? I like the way it smells. This one is strong. This is a different type of wood. It's Palo Santo wood. It's actually a wood stick. And the person that I got it from, like I went to the Botanica and I got it, and that was like a different. They're all the same thing, but you could smell the difference. Like this, I got from the metaphysical shop, and this was different. So, ooh, Jay Savage is in the building. Salute. Say hi to the good guy. What are you, Chucky now? I'm your friend to the end. Mr. Good Guy. That's what your name should be. Mr. Good Guy. So I crumbling the herbs. I'm just lighting it up. Light it up, light it up. Light your fingers up. Correlates to the heart chakra. Oh, interesting. Okay. And that could be why people are going through some issues right now. Or why some people also could be going through their spiritual awakenings and having these ascension symptoms and not understanding why all this is happening, because these planets are being aligned like big time. And they may not. Now this is a selenite crystal as well, so if you see me holding it, it's just good for communication, but also spirit. You know, while I'm doing this, you want to like keep your spiritual guard up. You know, I talk about this while I do my readings as well. I have different crystals that I wear. I have a smoky quartz that I'm wearing under my, you know, I'm in my chain, and I also have a sodalite, which is a blue crystal, but that's also good with communication. So especially when there's the planet Mercury going into retrograde, we want to have that type of crystal around us, or a smoky quartz, because things could get a little crazy during Mercury retrograde, because that's the planet of communication. So, you know, sometimes it's best to not say anything. Gemini is ruled by Mercury rules Gemini, and I believe Virgo. No, Venus. But definitely Gemini. So you need, it's almost like you have to watch what you say during Mercury retrograde. It's just kind of like the planet is kind of just like at a standstill, and depending on what sign it sits in, I think we're going to be having, well, we're in Taurus right now. We're in Taurus season. There's some good, there's some good things coming up. Stay dangerous to an extent. I don't want to get too dangerous. A little excess of anything is not good. I'll say that. Also, your amethyst as well. You want to have that for spiritual protection. But this is also good. Like, if you are having some issues with sleep, you could put this under your pillow. I don't have that. I have it next to my bedside. And the rose quartz. So for love and you know, working on your heart chakra, as Jay was talking about, you want to have that type of crystal around you, because that is good to have that. Not so much love for others, but also love for yourself, because a lot of us are also going through these type of healing issues. We're dealing with you know, childhood traumas, right? So we could see that play out with Kanye West, where he's having, and not so much he had childhood traumas, but when his mother passed, you know, he had that type of trauma. So we need to deal with some of these things. You know, we can't just easily escape out of these. You could find things to help you dull your pain, but eventually you're going to have to face the man in the mirror. Eventually, one day. Yeah, and that's probably messing him up, that he wasn't able to get his mother's blessing. I'm sure she would have been like, nope, not with that one, not with that heifer. You know, mothers be so protective, and rightfully so. I think one of my kids said, well, I think both of my kids was like, does she not like who I like? They were telling my youngest daughter that, and I was like, no, it's not that. It's just mothers are protective. Like, mothers can see the nonsense, and we just want to protect our kids from who they're, surrounding themselves with. That's all. That's all. But that is clearly one that you don't want to wrap yourself into. But then he's all making kind of stupid stuff for himself, talking about, what was it? Now they're saying that he paid Ray J for those videos. And I don't know if he's paid them off because he didn't want his kids to see that on social media, or I think one of the kids did see that. She should have thought about that a long time ago. When the kids were born, that's the first thing you think about. I mean, that's what I did when I was a teenage mom. I was like, all right, I'm not going to keep trying to have boyfriends and stuff. And if it wasn't going to work out with me and her father, then the dating thing and various men, that's not happening anymore. And it didn't. 2 years later, I was in a monogamous relationship and I got married. So he did. Toss it up. He was crying on stage. Yeah, I mean, he's hurt. We're clearly seeing somebody who... we're truly seeing what an escape artist looks like. That's an escape artist. He's a good artist, but he's an escape artist. He escaped dealing with his trauma. He then went to the dark side, and literally to the dark side. We're not talking about skin complexion. We're talking about what they are. And now he's trying to gravel his way up, and it's like, that's hard. You one of the top dogs up there. That's going to be hard for you to try to separate yourself from all of that. And not when you're talking about how Elon's your brother. No. I don't care how much money and, again, it's the illusion. That's what I'm saying. We got to be like, because certain people will present themselves to look like they about something. And all the while, they're not your brother. They're not your friend. You work for them. Houdini. Escape artists. So we're seeing that in real time, that man's trying to get out of it however he's trying to. But then he double dips and he backslides. And then he's showing us he's with some other floozy. So I don't know. I don't know what you're doing, Kanye. I don't know what you're showing us, what you're doing. That's why I said I look at him sideways, because I don't know what's what. And like I said, with everything, we question everything. We have to question it. Yeah, that too. That's what really got him. Mm-hmm. She put that thing on him. And he's like, what? He probably ain't never had nothing like that. That'll do it to you. That good stuff will be like, you be in a spell. For real, you'll be in a spell. Like, whoa. I'll do anything for her. I love her. She was for the streets before that. Right? That's what they say now. She was for the streets before that. And you thought you could what? Yeah, that's a whole nother story too. Because his wife, she said that she was out there selling drugs. I'm like, since when, Jada? When were you selling drugs? This is the first time I'm hearing about it. You weren't talking all that hot stuff before then. So what are you talking about? You were a drug dealer. That's what I'm saying. People are trying to make themselves seem bigger than what they are. Now you cower and you dumb back and you're like, oh, we're healing from this. We'll talk about it later on the red table. What I tell y'all about red? It's the first thing I said about when I was talking about the Wizard of Oz and her red slippers. That's a sacrifice. Every time why not have it the yellow table for healing, right? Because I've been to a cancer ward where they have yellow blankets over their patients. That's to help them feel better. That's the sacral shock, the solar plexus. It's about healing. And the yellow brings in this lightness, makes them feel good. Why not a yellow table? Why not an orange table? Where the sacral chakra, if you're talking about sex all the time, take up. Why not an orange table? Why a red table? You see what I'm saying, y'all? I don't want to be reaching, and I'm not those type of conspiracy theorists where you try to red dot everything together. You know what I'm saying? Where you try to line it all up. I'm not that. Sometimes. Sometimes I'm going to be like, but I mean, some things are just like plain in sight. When you see that, you know, and that I got all that observation from watching movies, because I was like, why? Scary movies at that, because I watch a lot of horror movies. So I'm like, why is this dude wearing a red jacket? Why is he wearing, you know what I'm saying? So it was always like, why is that room all red? Why is the door red? Then I've come to find out that that's all sacrifice. So I'm like, well, why didn't she just put a yellow table up or a blue table? Why is it red? And every time they come to the table, she's sacrificing something else. She's sacrificing somebody else to say something about something. Come on. CJ. Thank you, big cat. Friendly reminder, drink your water, eat your vegetables, your fruits and your vegetables. Take care of yourself. Yeah, they do. Nowadays, they do. That's why I watch the horror movies. I can't. I have to. That's my escapism. It's going to horror movies or going to the old classic black and white movies, because I'm like, even too much of YouTube and, you know, going on my little rabbit holes. Sometimes I'm like, my brain, I just can't. Instagram, I'm like, I can't. I gotta just sit back and watch nonsense sometimes. Yeah. So, you know, that's just one thing. That's just one observation. There's so many other things that we could look at and be like, yep, why is this? Why is that? Why? You know what I mean? But just the littlest, subtlest things. That's a subtle thing. Like, blue table, right? I got a blue room. Well, not a full room. It's just a wall. But blue is for healing and calming down. When you want to sedate somebody, you put them in the calming, right? You put the lights down, you put the blue curtains, and you put the blue room, put them in the blue room, and they calm down. Even when you paint your rooms, it depends on what, you know what I'm saying? We got to be smart about some things and know how it affects our bodies, how it resonates. Like I said, speaking, casting spells, or talking. You got to be careful when they say, words don't hurt. Yeah, they do. They hurt. They hurt a lot more than, bullets hurt really bad. But if it's your own that did that to you, then a stranger, you could heal from those type of injuries, right? But the heart, it takes longer, especially when you love this person and they've done wrong to you. It hurts. Or if you've been mentally abused, you've been emotionally abused, you've been verbally abused, you can heal those scars that somebody's beat you. But the mental, that verbal, come on. Words cut like a knife. Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, and that makes sense too, Big Cat, what you said, because they tell us the devil's red horned, pitchfork wearing, half man, half goat. And that's like to scare you, right? So in their ideology, they use the red symbolism for evil, right? But if you look at red, your blood, that's life. Sangre, that's life. Come on. Every month a woman sheds this nastiness out of her body, but she's also making room for that one little egg that can make that life. They trying to make it, they try to twist things so innocent and so pure, so natural to, oh, that's evil. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Buddha. I'm on paradise. Yay. Good job, Big Cat. Good job. Yeah, man, we got to get to that work. I appreciate it. Wherever we can fit in, right? That's what we're here for. We're here to reach one, teach one, and take it, you know, don't take my face value. Because, you know, I go all over the place. My mind is like, and so I'm trying to stay focused. That's why I need my selenite. I'm like, bring it back to center. Bring it back to center. But it's just to make us more aware of our surroundings, aware of what's being played out in front of us in real time. And I thought that the character to that book with the Wizard of Oz is what's exactly happening right now with this. Don't let the little man behind the curtain, pay no attention to him. No, we need to pay attention to him, because that little man was a little broke man who came from Midwest, didn't have 2 pennies to scratch together, and he's hoodwinking people out here thinking that he's the wizard of a whole land. You see what I'm saying? And so when you look at it, you're like, well, who's that really? That's all. That's all. I just want us to, you know, get into that thought process. And I'm going to leave us with an oracle. Oh, snap. Big Cat say he wants a mini. I got us an oracle. Hold on. Hold on a second, Big Cat. All right. Witch's deck. Wasn't doing it, but you know, we gotta do it for you, Big Cat. Another one of my moderators extraordinaires. The mail to my notice. All right, so let's see. Hold on a second. I appreciate CJ for coming through, dropping some wisdom down. And the usual suspects. All right, so hold on, let me see. So you know what, Big Cat, I'm gonna do an oracle. I'm gonna do the oracle first for everybody, and then I'll do the mini real quick. Thank you. Yeah, we've been on it for 2 hours, right? You know, listen, if it was up to me, I probably could be one of those lecturers that could probably do like 6 hours. Well, Jay's been with me for like 10 hours one time. I think my first time, I think most of y'all have been there. That I will not do again. That was a record breaker. Just happened here. You know, but you get so filled with adrenaline of, you know, the response from people, and you know, just the energy that you're like, you could still keep going. You know, it's like, as long as people want to listen and they're willing to hear, then keep going, keep doing it. But it's a lot. Thank you. Yeah, it is a lot. Relax. It's a lot, but if you have, I would say if you have everything already like written out and you have all your presentation and your ducks in a row and stuff, it could go a little more smoothly. Somebody that kind of like freestyles it, like myself, that's why I could go a little further, because somebody's going off dome. So it's like, they'll have you there all day, like. But it's only if it's being reciprocated back. If somebody's listening while somebody's talking, and then it can keep going on and going back and forth. Shoot, I mean, you know, I've had phone conversations. I've been on the phone for 4 hours straight on the phone, jonesing it up. You know what I'm saying? as long as the energy is going back and forth, shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, they're energy consuming for sure. So you should definitely get you a selenite crystal or some type of sodalite crystal to help you with speaking. So you could definitely speak your truth. You want to make sure that what you say resonates, but you know, you're speaking your truth basically. Hold on, let me see. Just do it, then do it. I had somebody who I didn't know, and we were coming from the Star Report. Shout out to Yellow Jesus, because I was going to shut my little YouTube page down last year because I was using it for personal reasons. But then I had gotten enlightened to do something else with it. And he saw me doing my readings on Instagram and was like, oh no, don't shut your page down. You know, transfer all that stuff that you're doing on Instagram, go onto YouTube. And I'm like, and so he brought me on to main Behind the Bar 2.0 and, you know, gave that exposure. But just that one person, well, he was a person. There were a couple of people behind the scenes, but this person was really like brought me out onto a platform. So I was able to then get the people who are here now, like a Brother Rich and a Jay Savage. I think Big Cat was on there, that are now here with me. So, you know, if you're here and you're going to do something, let me know. Put it on and I'll subscribe to it. So that's how we do it. Hold on, y'all. I got to get my cat out. Because they always want to come in when I'm doing a reading, and then they want to leave when I'm about to do a reading. Okay, and I also do personal readings as well. So if you want a personal reading, you guys can, you know, hit the link on my page and you could subscribe to that and get a personal reading with me. You want to know about your romance, you want to know about business, finances, health. If you want a quick yes or no question, all that's on my website. So you can click on that and then book a reading with me there. Instagram, I post sometimes. I sometimes do a reading when I'm led to it. I'm just not the most consistent. That's the other thing, because it's a lot. It's really like energy, you know. I never really, because this is what I do. So like the Mindful Mondays is kind of new. So I don't really need to stick to the script when you're doing cards. Like that's pretty much spirit. It's free flow. So shout out to my Miss Sharon. See her in the comments later on. Okay, good. Thank you for stopping by. Salute to you, CJ. Thank you for coming through. Best luck in your endeavors. And yeah, man, that 444, that's it's a high resonating number. All right, so let's get us a wisdom oracle to end our discussion for today, our mindful. And this one just came out, guys. Look at it. There's no place like home. If I wasn't prepared for this, they're gonna make me prepare. What's the bottom of the deck? Go the distance. So this is for CJ. Go the distance. Now, this card is 50, breaking down to 5. 5 is about change. Okay. So we just talked about this. I started this discussion with a story in regards to the Wizard of Oz and her finding her way back home. And she's having to click her little red ruby slippers 3 times each, saying there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Well, there's our card. There's no place like home. Home is where your soul resides. Home is where you, where everything starts from. All right. We got go the distance, the bottom of the deck here. We got exchanging gifts right underneath that. All right. Go that distance. So that's what she had to do. She had to go all the way from the west to the east. Right. Metaphorically speaking as well. And go that distance just to get back home. Sometimes we think if we move somewhere or we leave certain, people or whatever the case may be, that home is where your heart is. That this is true. But sometimes you do need to leave a home that's not a home anymore. That's just a shell. All right. There's this darkness coming through, or this twilight. So some people could be going through a twilight. As I said, a dark night of the soul. Somebody could be 50, all right, where they're going through their twilight age, where they're not as young as they used to be. I'm almost there. I'll be 46. But this is also about change, because the number 5 is about change, conflict. So if you had some conflicts in your home, all right, there's this shift going to be taking place here. But also know that, like spirit is there with you. So when I said, with home being your heart, that's your soul. That is the root of everything. So you ever wonder, like a homeless person, and they make a way out of no way? Because their home is in their heart. We get caught up in the luxury of things. We get caught up in the that too. We get caught up in the luxury of things, and we get caught up in, if I had a house this big, or if I had this house looking like this, or this, that, and the other. It's what it is. It's how you make it. Maybe some of you do need to have some hues of purples and blues. This is that crown chakra that I was talking about. Your crown chakra, right? Where the wisdom comes through, where you align yourself with spirit. That's that blue coming through with the Selenite Crystal. Here's my Selenite. I think this is a Selenite. Okay? This is that keeping that in check here with those chakras. But mainly your higher self. This is not about the lower chakra, the reds and the orange and the yellow. This is your higher spiritual self talking to you, letting you know. Home is where your heart is. Don't get caught up in all the other stuff that's around you. This is what's going on here now with you. If you need to change up certain things in your household, do it. To make it a home, then you do it. You got to clean up those toys, then that's what you do. To make it comfortable. We got this go the distance here with this cheetah. And look how I was talking about the east, right? What does that remind you with this sand here? So it's all tying in, and I didn't plan this out, y'all. I just shuffled the cards real quick, and boom. Didn't even let me get to pick what I wanted to pick, because it picked what it needed to be picked out and show us she talking that stuff. That's for real. Our home is here. Some of y'all fly over to the other side of the world. Y'all think the grass is greener on the other side. No, it's how you clean your grass. It's how